Hey everybody. Alright, so I've got a floor pan here that I am going to go ahead and put on this thing. I should have just wound up doing the whole floor, to be honest, because I got a little bit on the driver's side as well. This floor pan's for the passenger. And then the transmission tunnel just around the shifter hole. It's got some crazy stuff just from years of, different shifters and this, that, the other thing. So I got the car level and we're good to go, and I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting out that floor pan. We're just rough cutting it, and then I'll go back in and take the spot welds out and peel the last little pieces off, or at least that's the plan. But yeah, let me go ahead and start getting going on this, and when I get a little bit of work done, I will turn this back on. Alright, so I got the hole roughly cut out here. I got some damage up there that I didn't know, rust on that piece, but I'll get the car back up in a minute and I'll show you what I'm a little better. So what I'm going to do here, I still have to get a bunch of spot welds all along here to get that little section of the floor out. And then this piece here for the seat, I'm going to leave that in if I can, and I'm just going to get rid of these spot welds through here, and then I'm going to go underneath, cut this, hopefully not into here, and just go right along. This side, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll look at it again when we get back underneath, should just be this lip right here, which is just spot weld. So when I go to lay the new floor in, I'll have to angle it a little bit up. It'll sit flush up against here, and then it's going to go kind of tucked over here. I'll probably wind up cutting this out just a little bit more so it'll lay on top, but like I said, this is just a rough cut. Finished getting that out for the seatbelt bolt, and then the front will kind of just sit up in there. It's going to have to sit on top of that, so it'll take a little finagling to get it in there, but like I said, this is just a rough cut, so it's getting there. That's kind of the plan. Like I said, just next step is going to be to try to get all these spot welds out so I can get the floor pan off from underneath here, and then there's spot welds on the front too. And like I said, cut along that area right there, a little lower, but yeah, in that area. Let me get this thing back up in the air, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then I'll start making that cut and getting these spot welds out and all that good stuff. So let me get the thing back up in the air, and I'll turn this back on in just a minute. Thanks. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see it that well, but there is a spot weld there, and this is the lip I was talking about that needs to come out. And all the way to here, actually tucks into here a little bit, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do there, if I'm just going to cut it here, but that part I got to get figured out still. But and then this is that seat bracket inside that I was showing you, and I said I was going to cut the spot welds out. I did a couple of those, started getting this floor pan disconnected here, so we'll see how that goes. If I got to do a few from the bottom, I got to do a few from the bottom. And then I'm going to go along here and try to make it connect from that one to that one. And just, like I said, just as a rough cut. So obviously this drive shaft loop needs to come out, but I'm going to go ahead and get that out, and like I said, I'll move forward on this thing and just slice that, and I'll finish getting the rest of the spot welds out all through here and then along here, and see if I can get that, once this is out, see if I can get this section of floor to fall out and just leave me with the seat part in there, and then I'll have to straighten all that up, but a little at a time. So yeah, let me get that drive shaft loop out, and like I said, I'm gonna try to connect that cut across very lightly without getting into the seat material here. But yeah, let me do that, and when I'm getting a little bit of work done, I'll turn this thing back on. Thanks. Alright, so there's that cut I was wanting to do after I got the drive shaft loop out. And as you can see, the floor is starting to separate from that seat brace. And looks like I've got probably spot weld right there and one right there. And then hopefully this section will come down right there. And then, like I said, I'll just have to go along here and get all these out. So I guess to about here. This just needs to be cleaned up, a few spots there and there. But yeah, all along here, get all these spot welds out. And then, like I said, there's obviously some more here, here, along here, there. But get all those out, and this section here should come down. And then at that point, we're getting a little bit closer to being able to fit this thing in. I still got to do the back, and I got a bunch to do up at the front still. But anyways, that's going to do it for today. I am out of time, so when I get back out here, I will turn this thing back on and show you guys how it's going. Alright, so I've been working on the Camaro a little bit more. I got the floor pan basically out. This is the inner structure for the seat, the brace, so that's going to stay. I still need to clean up all the stuff here. Still need to get a little bit of the remaining floor out there. Clean up all this stuff as well. And then I need to figure out what I'm going to do up here. Because I found right there, you can see there's some rust right there. So I'm going to have to make something here to get rid of that. I did have a floor pan, partial floor pan that I had put in here, a replacement, I don't know, 20 plus years ago. It's actually still in good shape, so I'm thinking I might rob that curvature piece off of there and see what I can do with it. See if I can just make a little patch for this section here. But I'm going to go ahead and work on that. Getting this all cleaned up, this last section out, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. When I get a little work done, I'll turn this thing back on. Thanks. Alright, so I got that piece cut out. This is actually it right here. Kind of went in there like that, and was spot welded right there. So I am gonna go look at that other piece of metal. I got that old floor pan, and see what I can come up with. So let me work on that a little bit, and I'll turn this thing back on after a while. Thanks. Alright, so I got my little patch piece in there that I did right there. As you can see, welded it up there, crossed here. Was able to get here and grind it, and I think I ended about right there. And went down, yeah, that looks about right. So all of this here, up through here, and like I said, that funky little bit right there, but it's far enough under there, and I couldn't get in there. I mean, I might go back with a little carbide tip or something, but I probably won't, because it's right there, so I'm not too worried about it. But again, I may, so I think a little skim of filler possibly on there after the fact, before I paint it, and after I get the floor in, of course, and I'm not beating on anything or welding or whatever. But not too bad, not too bad. It'll work. So keep thinking I see a little hole right there, but it doesn't go all the way through. It's just, so I don't know, I'll either have to hit that with the welder again, or like I said, if I put a little filler, that'll get that taken care of. But anyways, got that in there, so I can continue. I think I'm finally at the point, oh wait, no, I see that little remnant right there hanging on. But getting pretty darn close to where I can actually lay this thing in there and get an idea of where I need to cut across here and where I need to cut across down there and all that good stuff. So, but like I said, at least I got this patched up now, got the rust out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and that's going to be it for today. But when I get back out here and start fitting this floor and working on it again, I'll turn it back on. All right, we'll talk to you soon.